Hello everybody, this is Courtney with Fiber Fox Studios, and today I'm coming back to show you guys how to work the rest of the back panel on your top. And as you can see right here, I've got my camera up really high so that you guys can see what we're going to be doing. We've done these 2 repeats of the pattern right here, so hopefully you guys can see there's 2 repeats. That's 4 rows. So now we're going to be starting our 5th row, which is going to be our 3rd repeat. But in order to do that, we've got to bring the side of the panel out just a little bit, and this will happen on both sides, and that's going to be your width for the remaining portion of your back panel as you crochet on down. So we've done 2 repeats here, and we're going to be doing, in most sizes, I'm recommending 7 more repeats after we widen it. But it's really up to you, your height and all. Everybody's really different. Of course, some of the larger plus sizes, I have additional, I'm suggesting additional repeats once we widen the project. So just refer down to the description down below, and you will see what you need to do, how many repeats you need to do in order to finish it out. But we're just going to go through real quickly here in the first part of part 2 on how to extend out here on the sides. And then we'll be doing your repeats. You'll go ahead and move on doing the same stitch work that we just learned in part 1. You're going to continue that on down for the number of repeats that you would like, or if you go by the suggested. Then we're going to be moving immediately to starting our shoulders here up at the top, because this is a top-down construction. So when we move on, we're going to be working up here again, doing little shoulder straps, and then we're going to actually form the front of this top. So it'll be a front panel that we come back and do here just shortly. I'm going to try to fit that all into part 2. I don't know how far we'll get, and then part 3 would be sleeves if everything works out like I'm hoping. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it, but I did want to give you a visual of what we're doing. We are about to widen this top. So if you've been concerned that what you've done up here is not going to fit you, it's not supposed to. We need to come down and widen. This is where our arms are going to be joining on, if that helps to kind of give you that image in your head. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way and lower the camera, and we're going to get started. Alright, so here's where we left off the last time. We've done 2 full repeats of the pattern. Pattern is a 2-row repeat. So each one of these little sections right here, this is a repeat. This is a repeat. So now we're going to move on to our 3rd repeat, and that's where we're going to be widening. So I'm going to go ahead and pop out my stitch marker real quick, and we're going to get started. It's very easy to widen this project, and keep in mind the sample I'm showing you is not an actual size. This is just a sample size for me to show you the technique, and then I'll be using that back panel that I just showed at the beginning of this video to continue on to show you the rest. So we're going to go ahead, and we are going to now, instead of just beginning another repeat of our pattern, we're going to widen. So what I've done to widen is I'm going to have you chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So you've done a chain 11 over here. So now we can go ahead and turn our work. And now at this point, we're going to begin this 3rd repeat, what is essentially row 5. So we're going to be beginning it over here. We've just extended out our project on this side. So we're going to do this on the other side as well, but we've got to work our way over there. So we've got a chain of 11 right here. And that's going to be the same for all sizes, no matter what size you're making. And we're going to be skipping this very first stitch, and we're going to go here into the 2nd. And we're just going to insert our hook under both loops and do a single crochet. And I'm going to bring my camera down just a wee bit more so you guys can see. Alright, so we're a lot closer now. So we're going to go ahead and start doing our row 1 of our pattern. So we're going to wrap twice around our hook, and now down here on this chain we created, we're going to skip over 5 stitches. So we're going to go to the 5th. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in this 5th stitch, we're going to go ahead and insert our hook. We're going to go under both loops, and we're going to begin doing our row 1. So we're going to pull up a loop and pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2 and pull through 2. So we did our single crochet here to anchor down, and now we're starting our pattern. So you guys should be pretty familiar with it now. You've done a couple rows in your full pattern size or in your full size. So we're just going to continue to do that. We're going to do our pull through 2, doing our triple crochets, total of 5 right here, all into the same exact stitch. So everything we're doing is just like before. We're working into 1 stitch. We're going to put our 5 triple crochets, then we're going to chain 5 and do 5 more triple crochets all right there into that same stitch. So this is just what you've been doing. We're just doing it over here on a chain this time. So we've got 4 for me. I'm going to go ahead and wrap around 2 more times, go back down that same exact stitch, and I'm going to finish that off. Now I'm going to do a chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook, and we're going to go back down into that same exact stitch yet again, and we're going to do 5 more of the triple crochets. There's 1. Here's number 2. I'm trying not to go very fast in case anybody really needs to watch. There's number 2. Now I'm going to do number 3. And now we're going to do wrap twice and do number 4. And last but not least, we are going to do number 5. Now, when we lay this out, we have our little pattern that we needed, and now we have to anchor it down. So we're going to go right here into the top of this stitch, and we're going to anchor in right here. So it's essentially, it looks like a single crochet, and it's just a stitch where we had joined. We're just going to go in there and do our single crochet right there to anchor that down. So now from here, it's more of exactly what you've been doing until we get over there to the other side and we do that last pattern. So I'm coming over to start my next repeat, and I'm going right there into that single crochet that's located right there in the center of that chain 5 space. And I'm just going to work my 5 triple crochets into that, just like we did before. So we've anchored, and now we start our pattern again. So it's more of the same thing that you guys have already been doing. So I'm going to work up this one, and then I'm going to have you pause, work down the rest of your row, and then we will meet back up when you get to the end so I can show you what to do to extend and how we're going to move on up to our next row to finish out the row 2 of the repeat for this pattern. So I've got my 5, chain 5, and then I'm going to go right back down in that same stitch. So this is exactly what we just learned over there in part 1. Just in case you guys have had a couple days in between getting to move on, this is kind of a little refresher, but I'm doing it kind of quick. So if you need some in-depth help with the stitch, just hop back over to part 1. You'll be able to watch it and catch right back on. But hopefully this is enough to help you kind of refresh your memory. So now I've got one more stitch, and I'm going to go back in that same exact stitch. And now I'm just moving over here, and again, as a refresher, this space that we created in between the 2 sets of clusters, we just go right around that, and that's where we're going to go and pull up our loop to do our single crochet. And that's why I was saying you didn't have to worry too much about keeping that too tight, because if it does get a little loose, as long as it's not terribly loose, the single crochet hides everything. So go ahead and pause here and continue to work on down. we're going to meet back up after you finish your last pattern over here, and then I'm going to show you how to extend. So I'll come back at the end of the row. All right, so we are meeting back up at the end of this row, and I just wanted to come back to remind you guys where you're going to anchor in. If you take a look, this is our little cluster, and right above that cluster is a little spot that we can get into, and we're going to go in there to do our single crochet to anchor down. And now, and believe me, when this is worn and all stretched out, you do have straight sides, so don't worry if your sides look a little bit wonky. When you actually sew it together, have it on and everything, they're very straight. Now what we're going to do real quick is we're going to chain 11 again, just like we did before. So we're at the end of the row, and we are chaining 11. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So now we can go ahead and turn our work again. And just like we did before, we're going to skip that very first stitch, and we're going to go right there into the second. So hopefully you guys can see exactly where I'm going. It's not too big of a deal if you want to do that. I don't believe anyway. So we're going to do a single crochet to start out. And now we're going to wrap our yarn twice around our hook. We're going to skip 4 stitches and go into the 5th. So just like we did before. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's my 5th. So that's where I'm going to make sure I'm wrapped twice. And I'm going to go into that 5th stitch on this little chain that we just made. And I'm going to begin doing that triple crochet again. So just like we did before, we're going to start doing our triple crochets all into that same exact stitch. So same concept, just slightly different spots, because we're working into a chain that we just created on the side. So we're going to do that. We're going to complete out just like we did before. We're going to do our 5 triple crochets, chain 5, and then 5 more triple crochets all into the same exact chain space or stitch, whatever way you want to look at it. So just make sure I've got my 5, and I do. And make sure when you're counting these that you kind of ignore this chain down here, because this is our single crochet and these are where we started doing those triples. So we're going to go ahead and finish that one out. Now we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to wrap twice, and we're going to go back down here in that same exact stitch and start doing our other 5 of these triple crochets. I think that's what most of you guys call them, is triple crochets. You can correct me down in the comments. I know them as trebles, double trebles, triple trebles, or some of these stitches where you wrap multiple times around your hook. So that was always the terminology I used. But I think most people with the 2 wrap call them a triple crochet, here in the US anyway. So we're going to go ahead. We've got our 5. So now what we do right here is that single crochet where we anchored this down, this whole fan, I guess we'll call it. So we're going to go right there into that same single crochet, but I just do a slip stitch here. So I grab my yarn and pull it on up, and then I'm going to pull it on through the loop that's on my hook. So now we have to chain up twice and cut our yarn. That's the only bad thing doing it the way that I'm doing it, is we do have to clip our yarn. We're going to rejoin it on the side though. It's no big deal. One little extra tail. So you can join back on either side. It doesn't matter. It's completely up to you, but we want to go into this little single crochet right here at the beginning of the row. That little single crochet that we placed to anchor all of our stitches down. And we're going to go ahead and join back on with our yarn. And now from here, it's exactly like the row 2 in our repeat that we did in the first, in part 1. I just like to chain with both the tail and working yarn. So that's my first chain. We always start this second row of the repeat with a chain 5. So there's 3 for me, 4 and 5. So just now we're going to skip and come right here to this third, and we're going to start doing those triple crochet clusters. So we're going to go into that third stitch. If you take a look at your work, that's where you're at. And we're going to pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with 2 loops on our hook. Now we're going to wrap twice again, and we're going to move to this next stitch, and we're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2. And we're going to hold it with 3 loops on our hook. And now we're going to wrap twice again, and we're going to come down for our third and final time and insert our hook into that next stitch, pulling up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, we're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with the 4 loops on our hook. So now we're going to grab our yarn, and we're going to pull through all 4 of those loops. So now we chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we come here into this chain 5 space right there in the center, and we're going to work right around it and do a single crochet. Now we chain 5 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're going to come and work down on this side. So we're going to work in these first 3 stitches. So we're going to wrap twice, and we're going to cluster over here as well. So we're going to right there into that very first stitch, and we're going to pull through 2. Pull through 2. We're going to hold it there with 2 loops. Now we're going to wrap twice. We're going to come right here to this very next stitch. We're going to insert in the top of it. We're going to pull up our loop, and we're going to pull through 2, pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with 3 loops on our hook. And we've got to do this a total of 3 times. So wrapping again twice, coming down to this third stitch and inserting our hook and pulling up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with 4 loops on our hook. So now we're going to grab our yarn and pull through all 4 of those loops. Now we kind of hold that as tight as we can. No big deal if you can't get it too tight. And we're going to wrap twice, and we're going to be skipping over these next 2 stitches that end out this little fan section. We're going to skip. We're going to skip that single crochet. We're going to skip the first stitch over here on this fan. Skip the next and come right here to the third, and that's where we're going to go in. We're going to go into this third stitch. 1, 2, and 3. We're going to work in those. So it's going to be 3, 4, and 5 essentially, and we're going to start clustering again. So we're going to pull through 2, and hold it with 2 loops. We're going to wrap again twice around the hook. We're going to go right here to the very next stitch. We are going to insert and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to hold it with 3 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap around twice. We're going to come right here to the very next stitch and insert our hook, pulling up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with 4 loops on our hook. So now we're going to grab our yarn and pull through all 4 of those loops. Just remember, you got to turn your hook down towards your project to do that. So now that ends the repeat. So you're going to keep working just as you have been, repeating these 2 rows all the way down until you reach the desired length or the suggested length that I have down below. So when you get down to the other side, you're going to be ending the row just as you did before. I will do a quick refresher on the row end after I work my way down. And so I'll meet back up with you one more time. But then from there, you're going to be doing anywhere from 7 to 10 more repeats. So here's one that we're working on, and you're going to continue on for a total of 7 repeats of this wider section to 10, depending on the size that you're doing. And of course, you can do less repeats if you are particularly petite or very short. Is really up to you. You can adjust as you need. So we're going to meet back up one more time for this section, and then we're going to move on to how you work the front part of your top. All right, so I'm ready to meet back up with you guys here at the end of this row. And this is just a little refresher, and because we haven't had to work in our new little extended row yet, this little single crochet that we began with, sometimes it will kind of hide. So you might want to just stretch it out. But if you count your stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this right here, you'll be able to find that single crochet that way. That's a little tip for you guys. So it's a row end, and what do we do at the row end of our row 2 end? We're going to wrap our yarn around our hook 3 times and get back into camera frame for you guys. And we're going to go back down into this single crochet that we started out that row. We're going to make sure we go under both loops. And then we're just going to pull up a loop and pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Now from here, we're going to continue on for our desired number of repeats, or you're going to go with the suggested, like I've said multiple times. And to start your next row, you're just going to chain 1. You're going to turn your work, and you start your row 1 of your repeat with a single crochet right back into that same stitch. So the same one that we're coming out of. Take a look right there. It kind of widens up for me on every one that I've done. Probably will be the same for you guys unless you're a tight crocheter. That's the spot that we go in, and we just do our single crochet right there. And then from there, we continue on working, jumping over that chain 5 and finding that single crochet in the center. And we start doing our triple crochets again. So we will be coming back in a moment. I'm going to move on to show you guys how you construct the front of your top. So we'll be back in just a second. You are going to need to pause this video here and continue to work on your project and finish up all the repeats that you need to do. Alright, so we are coming back, and you guys have finished the rest of your back panel. You've done all the repeats that you needed down here, and this is probably what your work is looking like laying in your lap. You are going to see that you have this part right here. This is where we began in part 1. And we have our foundation ovals right here on this side. So we're going to start working in these foundation ovals again. So we're going to be turning our work, is how I like to do it. I like to come back up here to this side, and we're going to work in these foundation ovals again. And we're going to work in just 3 of them, I believe it is, on each side to form little shoulder panels. So I just wanted to give you an idea of how it looks laid out. We're going to be changing our direction for a moment so that we can start working up here again at the foundation ovals. So your work will look like this when it is on you. The butterfly looking sections are going to be facing like this when you're wearing it. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of what it's going to look like when you put it on. So now we're going to go ahead. I'm going to be working on this actual piece. We've already learned the stitch, and I'm sure you don't need to see me do the stitch over and over, but you do need to see how I'm doing the shoulders and then how we begin the rest of the panel. So when we start working this, we're already going to be connected to our project. So we're going to work down, and then later, if you want sleeves, I'm going to show you in a separate tutorial how to add those, how to crochet them, and how to add them. But it'll be a matter of your top is already going to be joined on, and then you can decide to have sleeves and join them, or you'll just be joining at the sides and you'll be done. So this project does work up fairly quickly, especially because our repeats are so wide. This is good 2 inches here. So each repeat you finish adds 2 inches to the length of your project. In my case, if you're using a bigger hook or bigger yarn, it might be a little bit larger than 2 inches. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to lower the camera down so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Alright, so we're down low again where you guys can see. So if you take a look at your project, here's where we anchored at first. That's the first foundation oval. And then here's the next one. That's where we began doing the fan work that formed that pretty little butterfly shape. And then here's our next foundation oval. So you can see them pretty easily on your project. So we're going to start working over on either side. It doesn't matter which side you start on because we're just doing 2 short little shoulder panels. So we're going to go ahead and get started real quick. We're going to have to join our yarn back on. And I like to join, and hopefully you guys can see, I know this is different yarn, but I like to just join here in the bottom stitch. So the last stitch that I can see on that foundation oval, I just join in there so that I'm locked in over here to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and put my slip knot on my hook, and then I just pull up that loop. I'm going to grab my working yarn and my tail and chain 1, and then I let my tail go ahead and fall because I'll deal with that later. And then I'm going to go right back down into that same exact stitch right there, and I'm going to go into that, and I'm going to do my single crochet here. So we're doing the same stitch work that we did to do our back panel. So I just do a little single crochet there, and now I'm going to wrap twice, and I'm jumping over. So this is my first foundation oval where my pinky is, jumping over here to this foundation oval. So the same one that we put our triple crochets in, we're going to work in that again just here on this other side of the foundation oval. So we're going to go ahead and go in there, and we are just going to do our 5 triple crochets, then our chain 5 and 5 more triple crochets all in to that same exact space. So we're going to go right in there and work just like we have been. So there's 2. Here's my 3rd. Here is my 4th. Here's my 5th. And now I don't need to do another one. I need to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now we're just going to work right back down on that same foundation oval, doing 5 more of the triples. All right, so we're going to go back in to that same exact foundation oval, doing the same pattern that we have been, and do 5 more of these triple crochets. And this is a really short repeat on this because we're just going to do a total of 2 repeats, 1 actual, call it butterfly. We're going to do the pattern, 1 butterfly pattern, and then we're going to move up and do some additional rows because we're just making a small shoulder strap. And that is if you want the wider neckline. If you do not, and you want yours to come in, you're going to do a second repeat of this pattern going on these foundation ovals. I'll show you that in just 1 second. So we're going to go right here into this very next foundation oval, and that is where we are going to do our single crochet to anchor it down. So now, because the way this little shoulder strap works and it's a wider neckline on this piece, we're going to start moving up, and we're going to finish out the row 2 of this pattern. So we're going to do our row 2 repeat, and then we're going to repeat this 1 more time. I'm going to do that with you on screen so that you know exactly what I'm saying to do. But for those of you who are going to want to alter the pattern, if you want your shoulders to come in more, to cover more of your shoulders and not be more of a boat neckline, you're going to want to do the same stitch work 1 more time over here. So that will take up, we're anchored right here. You'll be working your triple crochets right here in this next foundation oval, and you would be anchoring over here. For this small size that I'm doing a small with 9 foundation ovals. There's not enough room to make this wider on this particular one. But for all of the larger sizes, you are going to be able, anything that's 11 foundation ovals or more, you can completely do 1 more repeat before you move up like I'm about to show. And that will give you a wider shoulder area, so it's going to come in closer to your neck. So if you want to do that, you're just going to do the same thing that we've done before. We're going to just move over here and start doing our triple crochets. 5 of those, chain 5, 5 more back into the same oval, then anchor here, and then you will follow on up with me where I'm about to go now. So if you do want to make it where it comes in closer to your neck, you're going to want to go ahead and pause here and work that next set of the 5 triple crochets, chain 5, and 5 triple crochets. You're going to want to do that repeat over here. And then you're going to want to come back to the video. For everyone else who wants the way it's designed and shown in the pictures, you're going to follow with me right now. So just like we did before, to move up to row 2, we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm getting a little too loose. 4 and 5. Now we're going to turn our work. And we are going to start doing our clustering now. So just like we've done before, we're going to be skipping 1, 2, and going here to this third stitch. And that's where we're going to start doing our cluster work. So we're just going to insert and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, and hold it with the 2 loops on our hook. Wrap twice again. We're going to go here to this very next stitch. Insert and pull up a loop. Pull through 2. Pull through 2 and hold it with 3 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap around twice. We're going to come right here to this very next stitch. This is our last one we have to do. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2 and we're going to hold it with the 4 loops on our hook. So now we can grab our yarn and turn our hook down and pull through all 4 of those loops. So now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's the same stitch work all over again. We're going to come right here into that chain 5 space and we are going to do our single crochet. Now we're going to chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And because we're only doing 1 repeat of this pattern on this row, we're only doing 1 of them, we're going to wrap twice and we're going to come right here into this very next stitch. So we're almost done here. We're going to come in, we're going to pull through 2, and hold it with 2 on our hook. We're going to wrap twice again. We're going to go to that very next stitch. So same thing you guys have been doing all throughout that back panel. We're just doing it right here in a very short row. And we're going to come into the third and we're going to pull through 2. We've got 4 loops on our hook. So now we're going to grab our yarn and pull through all 4 of those loops. And because we are doing such a short repeat, we're already at the end of our row. We're doing such a short row, I guess I should be saying. We're going to wrap our yarn around our hook 3 times. And now we're going to come down and we're going to find that little single crochet that we did right here at the beginning of the row. So where you joined on, you're going to go right down in there, pull up a loop. You're going to pull through 2. You're going to pull through 2. You're going to pull through 2 and pull through 2 to finish that off. So if you take a look, you have now started your little shoulder. And I have found for my size and all the other sizes that I did a test on, we need to do another repeat of the pattern. So we're going to do 2 more rows and then we will be able to clip our yarn, bind off, and move over to the other side. So let's go ahead and do that second row together. We're going to go ahead and start with a chain 1. And now we need to turn our work. And I'm going to pull out a little more yarn. We're going to go right back into that very first stitch in the row and we're going to do our single crochet. And now from here, we're just wrapping twice. We're finding that single crochet that we placed on that chain 5 and we're going to go right there into that. I know this yarn's a little hard for you guys to see, but you should be very familiar with this. So I'm hoping this is okay. So we've done our first one. We're going to do 5, then chain 5. And do 5 more triple crochets all into the same single crochet. So we're working all of this in that same stitch, just like we did on our back panel. So I've got 3. Now I'm going to do number 4 and number 5. So now all we need to do is chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to wrap twice. And we're going to go back down in that same exact stitch. And we're going to fit another 5 of our triple crochets down in that same stitch. So there's 1. Here's number 2. Number 3, number 4, and number 5. And we're going to come over here, and this is our cluster, so we're just going to find that little stitch right there at the top of the cluster. Just go in right above it, and we're going to go in there and do our single crochet to anchor down our work. So let's pull this down so you guys can see. So this is what we're starting to look like. So you're forming this little shoulder panel. So now we need to finish the fourth row of this, which is the second part of our repeat on this pattern. We're going to chain up 5. And we're going to turn our work. And now we just need to go ahead and skip those first 2 triple crochets in this little fan section. So 1, 2, and we'll go right here to this third one. And we're going to go ahead and work into the top of that third one. And we're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2, and we're going to hold it with 2 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap twice. We're going to go right here to the very next stitch. Go right into the top of it. We're going to pull through 2, and hold it with 3 loops on our hook. We're going to wrap one more time and go right here into this last stitch, and we are going to pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2, and hold it with 4 loops on our hook. Grab and pull through all 4 loops. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to come right here into that center chain 5 space and do our single crochet to anchor down. And we're going to chain 5 again, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to come right here and start working the next 3 stitches going down on that fan. So we're going to just insert and pull up a loop, pull through 2, and hold it with the 2 loops on our hook. Wrap again, go into that very next stitch, and repeat that again, holding it with 3 loops on our hook. And one last time, we're going to go into that third stitch, pull up our loop, and then we're going to hold it with the 4 loops on our hook. So we're going to grab our yarn and pull through all 4 loops. And now, because this is such a short repeat, we're already at the end of our row. So we are going to wrap 3 times around our hook. And we're going to come down here to that single crochet. And we're going to insert and pull up a loop. We're going to pull through 2. We're going to pull through 2. Pull through 2. And pull through 2. Now, when we take a look at our work, we have created a little shoulder strap. Alright, so raise my camera up. So now we've created this little shoulder strap right here. And we've got, this is the back of our back panel. It's the top of our back panel. So this, when we work next, we're going to be folding it over this way, just to give you an idea. But you need to come over to this other side, to your other edge over here. And you need to do the same exact thing right there. You need to do your shoulder strap on this side. And then we're going to meet back up to go ahead and start our front panel. And we're going to do that in part 3. So we are going to move on to part 3 to start the front panel. So just go ahead and repeat the instructions I just gave to do your little shoulder strap. Once you finish that, you'll be able to move on to part 3, and we'll go ahead and start the front of our top. So I thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and please make sure you are subscribed, and don't forget to move on to part 3 so that you can do the front part of your top. We'll be working on that next. Have a good night.